Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I'm Scott.
I'm John.
And we're married. I totally forgot how to do this.
I know, it's been a while. So it was funny, I was looking at the comments for our last episode, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see you posted so quickly after the last one. And
I think we cursed ourselves.
Yeah, we're kind of making up for that. And on average, we're probably okay, but it's been 2 months.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we got busy.
We got busy, and I think when you get out of the habit of doing anything, it gets harder to do it. So we will do better.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I know.
So, it's not the end of the world.
It is not the end of the world.
So, we're back. We got lots of crap to talk about.
Yeah, so I think...
This is a knitting podcast. Or it's not even a podcast. This is a knitting YouTube show.
Right. I like using the word podcast, though.
It's a knitting podcast.
Knitting podcast that's on YouTube with video.
It's not cast, and it's not...
It's neither pod nor a cast.
It's neither a pod nor a cast. Discuss. All right, so... we've got lots of stuff to talk about. Things are going good with us.
Yes. If at any point in the video we get a really disgusted look on our face...
We're not going to talk about this. This is going to gross people out.
It's because our dog is underneath our table and occasionally...
He has digestive issues. Oh, no, he's not. He's over there sleeping on the beanbag.
Okay.
If any of you follow me, I don't think you've posted it, and follow me on Instagram. SweetTeaNoShade is my handle on Instagram. I post pictures of our dog Harris sleeping in our beanbag chair, which used to be our beanbag chair, but is now his beanbag chair.
Well, it used to be the cat's beanbag chair.
Well, that's true.
So it's a little more his size, but it's still oversized for him.
He's sitting just on the other side of the camera in the beanbag chair staring at us right now.
Yeah.
Laying there, relaxing. So...
We just have to avoid saying certain words.
We do?
Like W.
What?
L-A-K.
You mean W-A-L-K?
Yeah.
And R-I-D-E?
Yes.
Yes, we do have to. And
otherwise we'll get attacked.
Does he know the word T-R-E-A-T?
Let's not find out.
Yeah. All right.
That'll be researched later.
Yes. So, yeah. So we're just going to jump right in.
Yeah.
And start talking about knitting stuff.
Knitting stuff, and because we are a knitting podcast, we are not a dog digestive issues podcast.
That is true. We are not a...
Pet care.
A digestive issues for your dog podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so in our prep work too, John and I are prepping for the episode. There's also the couple places where we bought yarn, but I guess we'll talk about that when we talk about the yarn that we bought or whatever.
We'll talk about the places we bought yarn when we talk about the places we went to buy
yarn.
No,
you know. All right, so first fight on the episode we just cut out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to start. So I've been doing basically sock knitting for the last, well, I mean,
life.
It's my favorite thing, but that's what I've been focused on a lot lately. Well, I shouldn't say focused on lately. It's been my primary focus for several months. And so I finished 2 pair, and you would think, okay, Scott, you haven't shown anything on the episode for months, and you've got 2 pair done? Well, several of them I've knit more than once.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you ascribing shade to our viewers that they would judge you for only doing 2 pairs in 2 months?
Yes.
I
would judge people if they're like, all I do is knit socks, and then 2 months pass, and, you know, you've only got 2 pairs. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I wouldn't judge other people for that. But I know that, like, some people can get a pair of socks done in a week.
I feel like we should never judge anyone for their speed of knitting.
Why? Because you're such a slow knitter?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean,
I'm not the fastest knitter.
My pair of socks take months.
That's because you don't like to knit socks.
I don't... Anyway.
Yeah.
As I sit and knit a sock.
As you sit and knit a sock.
Okay.
So, okay, you've already derailed me.
That's my job.
So the first pair of socks that I finished was for me. And I didn't intend for it to be for me. Sorry, I'm off the screen. I didn't intend for it to be for me, but I think I told this story. I think I've shown these before, but I was making socks for my friend
Jake,
and he has he's a giant person, and so I have to figure out how to, I think I have to figure out how to knit socks for him. So these ended up being for me. So I'm super happy with these.
I love those.
They are, so I prepped for this. I got the gray with the rainbow blips in it is called Rainbow Blip by Stitch Together. And it's the Stitch Smooth Sock base. And we bought it at Yarnify in Chicago this past New Year's. And so it's super, I really love it. And so the heels and toes are from our Lorna's Laces shepherd sock in the cheery colorway. And I lately have bought several solid color skeins from Lorna's Laces, or made by Lorna's Laces. Bought it from Jimmy Bean's Wool. And just when I'm looking, they have like a million colors. So just looking for a specific color for the heels, and look how neon that's looking on the screen right now.
it looks like it's under a black light or something.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. I love that. I think we've talked about this already, but I just really like how, I think, all right, my because I've done this so much.
And you're an expert.
I'm an expert. I really like it when because like you look at this, the pink is kind of hard to see against the gray, I think. In the sock pattern. So the yellow is a lot more prominent, as is the blue. Am I saying the wrong color words?
No, it's just that the pink is. Yeah, I'm trying to go an entire episode without criticizing you for the fact that you're colorblind. I'm really trying, and you're making it hard. You're like, the pink is not vibrant, and the yellow. I'm not trying not to. I'm really trying not to. You're right, though. Keep going. Your opinions.
You know what?
Matter.
I'm gonna sit here, and I'm gonna have you know what we're gonna do?
Your opinions matter.
We're gonna have a John Asbury podcast
That's not
for
your name.
John Asbury Salisbury. That's my Instagram name.
Oh, yeah.
Podcast for knitters who can't see colors and don't read so good.
Don't read so good.
It's like the Zoolander.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, I finished this pair. I don't know where the other sock is. I think it's in the dirty laundry, waiting to be washed. So one thing I'm curious about is how other people wash their... Because this is super wash. This is 80-20. And I think the heels and toes are 75-25. I several times have washed the Superwash merino socks in just like regular, cold, and then put them in the dryer. Some people are like, oh my god, they have a heart attack when they hear that. I was hearing the grocery girls talk about it, and I've switched now to, we've got enough knitwear, mainly socks, and then make some sweaters that we didn't knit, but that are nice sweaters and stuff. Washing those, we have a wool setting on our washing machine, and with wool wash, and then hanging all of that to dry. So that's my new, because I heard about like standard detergents and then the hot dryer and stuff like that is what breaks down the fibers and stuff.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
Anyway, so this pair is done. It's my standard recipe. So my standard recipe is I think it's like 25 rows of 2x2 rib. And then what I found is that if I knit the leg too long, I can't get it up over my calf. So the leg is 8 inches. And then my shoe size is US men's 9, so that's about a 6.5 inch foot before I put the toe in. But this is it. So anyway, that's becoming my standard sock recipe. I'm struggling right now because, not struggling, but I love the afterthought heel, the way it looks, especially with contrasting colors, but it can be a little boring. And I know that's weird to hear me talk about sock knitting boring, but what I mean by that is You've got this, which is interesting, and then you've got that.
And then you have to go through that.
And if you do it after hop thought heel, you just keep going, you just knit a tube.
Right.
There's nothing to break it up. Unlike with a heel flap and gusset, where you stop, you do the heel flap and gusset, and then you have the foot, it breaks it up. I also recently tried the Fleegle heel by Happy Knits, which I'll talk a little bit about in a little bit. And I haven't tried what's that, Fish Lips Kiss heel? I bought the pattern for it, but I haven't tried that yet. So anyway, I kind of go back and forth. I don't know. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. So really happy with these.
It's done. It's pretty. We like it.
Yes.
Good yarn choices.
Yes.
Make good yarn choices.
Make good yarn choices. Okay, Mr. Asbill Salisbury.
Are you going to... Sorry, for the one for Jake, are you going to do that same yarn, or are you going to do...
No, I'm going to show that yarn in a minute.
Okay.
I'm doing the brothel, or whatever colorway. I'll show you in a minute.
That sounds exciting.
Yes.
All right, so... I have a finished pair of socks. That's not the best way to see it.
That's super helpful for people.
You know what? I'm excited. So, all right, let me put them on the sock blocker. I guess... one.
No, put them both on.
Okay. Can you do this one? Thank you. So, this is my first pair of socks that I have finished, that I've ever knit. So, they're already worn and they're kind of taken out of the,
they're a little lumpy.
They're a little lumpy.
They're not lumpy. That's not the right word.
No, they're not.
They're baggy. They're not I'm sorry. I'm going to be quiet now. Go ahead.
They've not been washed. They were blocked, and then they've been rolled up in a suitcase for the last week and a half because I wore them out. So Scott was talking about how long it takes to make socks. I started these socks in February of 2018. So literally, they have taken a year and a half to knit.
No judgment.
I'm surprised because I was like, surely it's not that long. But yeah, I think I probably cast them on, and then I did most of the work on them in the last 3 months, though, I think. No, because I finished one over Christmas.
Yes.
And then I just procrastinated on doing the heel and toe for the second one for about 4 months. Oh
yeah, that's right. You picking up stitches makes you want to scream.
Not as much as other things, as I learned. That's another project. Anyway, so these are fantastic. I've worn them. They're comfortable. I like how they look. You can't really tell. Sorry.
Let's hold them up here. That helps.
But I like this colorway because, see, this is one's under the light, one's not, and the colorway is Savvy Skein Sensible Sock. The colorway is called Parcel Tongue.
That sounds like you're speaking parcel.
Parcel Tongue. And the designer said she was trying to make socks that look like Nagani.
I don't know what that is.
The snake from Harry Potter.
Oh.
So like that. So anyway.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that makes sense. So what I like about these is the main color, just like.
There's like a diamond in it. I never saw that.
Yeah.
It said that.
It's one of those colors that looks really different in different kind of light. In like direct sunlight, it looks almost it looks shimmery blue.
Huh.
So it's a really cool colorway. I really liked doing it, knitting it, and then the heels and toes are in my favorite colorway ever, which is Copper Corgi, Savannah Sock, Carolina Fiber Ghouls, which I've done. I did that as part of my Doodler shawl a little while ago, and I like how they look together a lot. I feel like the heels and toes look like you kind of dipped the main sock in like some ink.
Yeah.
So yeah, my first pair of socks. Yay!
Do you want to talk about the construction?
Sure. So this is So this isn't a pattern. This is a pattern that Scott has used to make me socks before. So it starts out with basically 2 inches of 2x2 rib, and then through the, you can kind of see this, through right from here to here, it's 6x2 rib, and then it goes just to regular stockinette, which is nice. It makes it really snug around the calf.
The leg, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
One thing I want to mention real quick is for both your socks and my socks, we both use 2.5 millimeter needles.
Mm-hmm.
In a previous episode, I talked about the fact that I had a set of 2.25 millimeter needles and was knitting the next socks I'm going to show on those, and John couldn't get them on his foot. And it was the same number of stitches, it was just a quarter of a millimeter different.
Yeah.
And couldn't get him on his foot. So that's, I think, common sense to people who are really experienced with knitting. But I'm like, what's a quarter of a millimeter really going to matter?
Yeah, I guess it adds
mattered
up.
A huge amount. But so we both do 2.5 millimeter needles and cast on 64 stitches.
Right, and these were done with 9-inch circulars for the most part. I think I might have done a little bit of cast on magic. I might have cast these on magic loop, then switched over.
Okay.
It's been so long, I cannot remember.
It's been a year and a half.
And then the heels and toes for one of them was done with DPNs, and the other one I think was done with magic loop.
Okay.
So.
And you did. I think you might have said this, but you did it with afterthought.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Cool.
Yay!
All right.
Super exciting.
So then I knit a pair for John. So my new, everything I always change and do something different every time. My new strategy is knit a pair of socks for myself, knit a pair of socks for someone else, knit a pair of socks for myself, knit a pair of socks for someone else, because I keep finding all these people that I want to knit socks for, but I also want to have socks for myself. So I knit a pair of socks for John.
Yay!
Excuse me. And these are a pair of socks that the first sock was knit twice.
This is the one with the changing gauge.
Yes,
changing needle.
And that's because I did the whole 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circulars. I'm like, oh, it's not going to make a difference. So it did. So these are the socks. They're kind of funky looking. Oh, and that's right. I want to talk about the striping and the pooling and stuff. So the main yarn is Yarn Cafe Creations Weathering the Storm, which was the first non-big box acrylic store yarn that John ever... I think I bought it for you.
You bought it for me. I was going to make this crazy long scarf from Rib Magazine, and then
the icicle scarf?
No, stalactite
scarf, yeah.
So, but I did like 2 rows on it, and I was like, no. And then I realized it was 1,800 rows. So I was like, maybe not.
Well, and this wouldn't have been good yarn for that, because you wouldn't have been able to see the funky pattern in there. So what I did here was, first of all, I knit the first sock. And when I did that, I'm going to put one down so I can hold it. So when I did that with the 2.25 millimeter needles, this yarn had very distinct short stripes, like 3-row stripes that went all the way down.
It kind of looked like how it looks like on the...
Yeah, but they were even smaller. Then I took... I don't think I have it here. I took... So rather than unwinding the sock and then like reballing it up and knitting from that, I just knit the new sock from the old sock. I just unraveled it and started using that to knit. And it ended up with this pooling effect. I'm assuming that's because of the larger gauge. And then you can see on the foot, it's got these big stripes, and it's got a little bit of stripe around the top up here, and it kind of did the same thing on this one. And if you turn this around, you can see there's none back here. It's just really funky how that, I just think that's really cool. So this again is Lorna's Laces. Cranberry is the colorway. I liked the maroon, and I wanted to pick up the maroon in the main yarn. This is 2x2 rib, and then knit. And then this one I did a heel flap and gusset sock. And what I did was from the point that you do the heel flap, and then you pick up the stitches, or sorry, you do the heel flap and then you turn the heel, you do the short rows and turn the heel, then you pick up the stitches and knit the gusset and you knit everything. I just kept everything on this other yarn. And I think most people, what they do is they knit the, okay, I can't, it's backwards. You knit the heel flap and turn the heel, and that's all you do in the secondary color so that you don't get a band like this. But I don't know, I just thought I'd do something fun, and John liked it. So that's why it's a band like that instead of just being the heel flap and the heel turn that's in the secondary color. The other thing that was interesting about this is that why did I do this? For some reason, I think I needed the needle for something else, or I can't remember what it was, but I had to put, I bought these things from Clover Yarn. I think it's called Clover. Not Clover Yarn, like Clover sewing and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm going to talk about this sock in a little bit, but for now, it's a stitch keeper. And it's basically a small cable for like a circular needle, but on one end it has, I don't know if you can see this, on one hand it has a knitting needle tip. It's like, it seems to be like a 2.5 millimeter or something like that tip. And then the other side it's got this little green rubbery thing. And you can actually, and it's got a hole in it the size of the knitting needle, so you can do like this and it keeps your stitches. I mean, I think you can cinch it down and stuff. I've not found a need to do that, but anyway, the point is I put the stitches on this, the sock on this, and then I came back later and picked it up to knit it. Oh, I know why I did that, because of the switching from the, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. When I picked the stitches up, I just knit from the stitch holder. Well, the problem was that when I did that, the needle tip is on the wrong side. So I had to flip it around, and I ended up knitting, but I got a purl bump row. So it's like, you can see this purl bump row that, it was fine.
I mean, it's ruined.
I know, it's totally ruined. It's just things you learn, you know? It doesn't really matter. So now when I use this stitch holder thing like I'm using right now, I have to transfer it back onto the needles. And I can't knit from this. I have to transfer back onto the needles and then keep going. Anyway, so I wanted, the main reason, or one of the reasons I did this sock this way is because the other couple pair, 2 or 3 pair that I've knit for John don't have a heel flap. He's never had a pair of socks that have the heel flap and gusset in there. Do you have a strong, I mean, have you paid attention to see whether you have a strong preference for how either the heel flap and gusset or the afterthought?
No.
There you go. So anyway.
They're both really comfortable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
So, Yarn Cafe Creations, Weathering the Storm, and then Lorna's Laces Cranberry. Okay, before we get to the big project that's been finished, which is yours, I want to talk about pot holders.
Oh, right.
So, I have discovered the magic of pot holders. Yes, so...
That's actually dishcloth.
Dishcloth, not pot holders.
But you made pot holders, too.
I made pot holders.
Did you show those? Should I go... Are those upstairs? Should I get them?
Sure. Are they in the drawer to the right of the oven stove? Okay, so everybody else on the planet that knits has knit dishcloths. And so I'm very late to the party. However, I was watching the Yarn Hoarder podcast, and she's doing this thing where it's like she knits 1 million pot holders, or dishcloths. I can't remember what she's doing exactly, but I think it might be a knit along or something. But there's a free pattern like Grandma's favorite dishy or favorite dishcloth or something, and I like them a lot. Other people like them a lot, like to give them as gifts or whatever. But they're just, you sit down and like in 1 or 2 sessions, in one session you have a dishcloth done, and they're usable. They're something you can use, and it's just to do something different. So I've made a couple dishcloths. This one it's kind of color's kind of blowing out, but it's got pink and purple and orange specks in it. And then for this one, what I did was I started at the top. Well, I mean, so with this pattern, you start here and you increase till you get here, and then you decrease. So what I did was I did that. I kept increasing, and then I decreased. And when I got here, I didn't stop. I actually kept going and did this rest of it. Now you'll see there's this big navy blue chunk up here. That's because this cake of yarn, the skein of yarn was not enough for 2 pot holders, which I thought it would be, but it wasn't. So I luckily had a navy blue that worked. And then what I did was I think it was mattress stitch or something along the edges, so it stuck together, so it's double the thickness, and then we use it as a pot holder. So that's just been something easy and fun to do. Strongly recommend it.
And pot holders tend to disappear in our house for some reason. They're like socks, so
yeah,
extras are always a good thing.
Yeah, so strongly recommend it. I think I just grabbed a pair of circulars that are nothing fancy, that were ones that we had, that whatever the pattern called for, and it doesn't really matter if you meet gauge or whatever, so it's a nice fun thing to do. So I've been doing some of those.
Excellent.
All right, so let's talk about the big project that's done.
Hang on, I found a drop stitch, so I'm going to make sure it's okay. Come back and fix that. All right, so I have finished, and by finished I mean not woven in the ends or blocked yet, my first garment. Just very exciting. So, here it is.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! See?
That's inside out.
Inside out. Lots of ends to weave in. But here it is.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! You can still see the stuff. So the pattern for this is a sweater vest.
Pull it back a little bit. There you go.
So the pattern is just, it's called Men's Striped Sweater Vest by Blue Sky Alpaca,
I
and
think they're Blue Sky Fibers now.
yeah, that's how old this. Another one. It's so old. It's like the dates.
The company changed its name.
So yeah, we had an event at Stephen B that we went to years ago.
I think it was probably 2 years ago.
2 years ago, and they had a Blue Sky Fibers wall, and they had this vest knitted up, and they had...
It was the launch of the Blue Sky Fibers pop-up shop at Stephen B.
Right. And they had this sweater knit in Blue Sky Fiber Baby Alpaca. So I'm like, I would like to do that. And so I did. And the 2 color yarns are...
Okay, this is going to be funny if you can... Because you always say... I forget what it is you always call it. It's like oatmeal and...
Oatmeal and eggplant.
Right.
But I'm going to actually look and see what I say on my Ravelry thing, see if I was smart about doing it. Beige and eggplant.
Beige and eggplant, okay.
So beige and eggplant, it's done. I finished it yesterday, which is very fun. And it was a good pattern. I like how it turned out. When I try it on, it's a little snug.
A little snug.
So it looks more like a corset.
Or a bustier.
A bustier. So we're going to see if that can be remedied through aggressive blocking. I think I made it came in several sizes, but I did the medium size, which is a 38-inch chest, which I was like, oh, I don't want it baggy. But the next size up was 42, which seemed a little big for a sweater vest, right? So anyway, so it's a little tight.
Yeah, but I think with these, and I think we probably did this, you would measure your chest.
Right.
And then...
So I measure my chest.
There's no ease on this. There's no negative or positive ease on this. So you would, like if your chest was 38, you'd want to do the 42 one to allow for a shirt.
See, I think I measured
you don't want it to be against your skin.
I think I measured my. It was so long ago that I did the swatch on it.
I'm just thinking about for the future to avoid.
Started May 30, 2018.
Oh wow, that's not as long ago.
No, well, I cast it on. I did the initial cast on like last December, but I think I took it out and had to restart it.
Okay.
Ravelry says I did it on May 30th, 2018, which sounds about right. So yeah, blue sky fiber alpaca, knit on Chaogu circular needles. I think 2s. I just put them up. I can't remember what. Yeah, I think they're 2s.
Okay.
US size 2s. So yeah, really, really liked the yarn. I mean, really like how it looks. Love how it feels.
Oh, it calls for 4s, which is 3.5 millimeters. So did you have to go down that much?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I remember that now.
Yeah, I think I'd swatched for this like 6 times. But I swatched and blocked it, so I'm hoping that...
And you met Gage.
And I met Gage. So I'm hoping that that will kind of blow things up a little bit when I do that. So yeah, I love how it looks, love how it feels. This may be my last baby alpaca project for a while because...
Splitty McSplitterson.
Splitty McSplitterson. So I don't know if you can see this, but like, so the stitches, the beige parts were really easy to the stitch definition. For the eggplant stuff, it was like looking at a black on a black. So you have to pick up stitches for the shoulder and neck, and seeing the stitches to pick them up for this ribbing area just made me crazy. So yeah, so we'll see. And I don't know. It's really pretty. I really like the colors. Baby alpaca, maybe a pass next time. But yeah, it's just so, you know, you did basically the big sweater and then knit the V, and then you picked up the ribbing for the ribbed areas for the sides and the neck. So I actually finished the neck yesterday. Yeah. So yeah, I just have to weave in the ends. I'm really happy with it. It's my first garment, so that's very exciting. Yeah. There were challenges, of course, but yeah.
Cool.
So that's that.
Because you learn so much from
the
first garment. I mean,
right.
I haven't finished one yet, so what do I know?
No, you learn a lot, and I mean, I think you know, things like measuring differently. But I'm really happy with the color combination. And I say no more baby alpaca, but I overbought the skeins for this, so I've got like 2 or 3 skeins of each color, so I'll probably make a hat out of those like that.
Well, the thing about baby alpaca, or alpaca in general, I think, is that I don't think it has memory the way wool does.
Yeah.
So
you drop a stitch, it's a disaster.
Well, no, I'm talking about like with a hat. It's going to be a slouchy hat.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like a snug hat.
Yeah. Well, I made that hat for my mom, and that was a baby alpaca.
What was that, 100%? I don't think that was No, that wasn't baby. That was 100% alpaca, wasn't it?
I don't remember. That was a while ago.
I don't know if that's different, but I've heard Arnie and Carlos talk before about the fact that, like, something like this makes sense, but if you want it to be like a hat, you know, or socks or something like that, where it kind of
has some,
has some negative ease or some whatever that you want to have. You can have alpaca for the softness, but you want to have
marl it with something.
Well, no, you want to have a fiber that's got wool in it.
So would I marl it or do color work with it?
No, you can do stuff with it, but I'm making this up as I go along.
Right.
Based on what Arnie and Carlos said is, I mean, you'd want to do like a scarf or something that's not going to be fitted to the body.
Right.
I mean, except for something like this, which...
That's why you make it like super tight. It can be tight. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So yeah, I mean, these colors, I adore these colors. I think they're beautiful. And I like these colors together. So maybe I'll do something. I don't know what. But yeah, I've got like many skeins.
Well, I've got a cowl pattern.
Oh, that would work.
That I bought. That's all this same yarn, the same baby alpaca yarn. So
Yeah, but that was a kit you bought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but it's the same yarn. It's the same. It's baby alpaca.
Yeah. So anyway.
But that's another thing where it doesn't matter.
Right, because it doesn't have to be tight.
Yeah.
So anyway, very excited.
It'd be nice to,
Yeah, this feels great. I really hope I can make it fit. Otherwise, I have to find someone a little shorter and skinnier than me to get it to. Because I'm not willing to drop 10 pounds for a sweater vest, and I'm not getting any shorter.
Right.
So.
Cool.
All right.
Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, so let's, rather than jumping into the works in progress, do you want to talk about some of the yarn that we bought?
Yes.
And I think we've showed some of this on Instagram, but I want to show it anyway. So on the podcast. So in May, it was my birthday. My mom bought me some yarn. She had me go on Artistic Yarn by, what is this? Artistic Yarn by abi.com. And pick out a couple skeins, and so she just has some amazing colorways with, they're based on candies or fruits or whatever. It's like I'm not being very articulate about this, but it's just the yarn is, the colorways are very unique and interesting and based on themes of some kind. So this is one that I picked, and it's citrus stripe. It's 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon, 460 yards, and it came with this really cute lemon, let me see, this lemon stitch marker, and so it's got lemon, lime, orange, and then it's got some white in it too, and it's a self-striping yarn. Super excited about that. And then the other one I picked out, I can't remember the colorway, and I can't find the ball band right now, but it's it's this crazy neon.
It's literally like 80s video neon.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I've already caked this up, and my cake got a little smushed, but I'm already making socks out of this. I'll talk about those in works in progress, but I bought these two. I just thought this yarn is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's the same base, and so yeah, so I'm really enjoying those. So that was some that we bought, or actually my mom bought. Then there was the Minnesota, what do they call that? The yarn over?
We've already showed that yarn.
On the podcast?
Remember, that was our little
quick
mini
that's
thing.
right. That's right. So, that's right. I'm sorry.
So we
already talked about that. So then we were in Duluth.
Right. My family was in town for Memorial Day, and we all went. Scott had to stay home because he was on call for work, but we all went up to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and toured around in there. And on the way back, we stopped in Duluth, and Scott met up with us there. And of course, being in Duluth, went to a yarn shop.
So John, where are we?
We're in Duluth.
Duluth, Minnesota.
It's not how they talk up here.
Yeah, it really is. Duluth, our windshield's dirty.
Yeah.
And where are we going right now?
Harbor Yarn?
Yarn Harbor.
Yarn Harbor, sorry.
And we are right now going along to the north shore of Lake Superior, through the tunnels. Here's Lake Superior. Can't really see it though.
There you go, that's a nice view.
There's a little boat down there.
Here.
Yep. There's the Glensheen Mansion. The scary haunted Glensheen Mansion that you can't really see. Oh, I see it. It's right there.
Oh, cool. It's parked on the street.
have reached your destination.
All right.
So the one that I bought is by Lavender Loon Yarn Company. And I think, okay, it's starting to come back to me now. When we travel and we go to these local yarn stores, we try to buy a local yarn.
Right.
Because that's, you can't get that just anywhere. All right, so anyway, the Lavender Loon, it's tobacco and roses, and oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's 80%, it's an 80-10-10, so it's 80% merino, 10% nylon, 10% cashmere. So, of course, I'm probably going to knit socks with it, but I want to take it out of the ball band and show you. It's got,
green, red, blue, it's gorgeous.
It's tobacco and roses is like the perfect name for the colorway. But it's I don't know, how do I describe it? It's a very squishy fingering.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, how some sock yarn can be thinner and some can be thicker, obviously with any yarn. I don't know if I can hold this out.
Yeah, that's pretty.
But it's like, it's got the roses, it's got the rosy red color in it, and then it's got the deep greens for the leaves.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's got, like you can see, there's the deep kind of rosy red right there. And then some of the deep green for the leaves. But then it's got some cool browns with black specks in it and stuff for the tobacco. It's just...
Yeah, it's really pretty.
I can't wait to use this. So, that was what I bought.
Great. And I got this. This is from a a local dyer. I think she spins it too. And she...
Yeah, I think that was hand spun.
Hand spun, hand dyed. And it is actually the color. So the dyer is Knitting My Way, and I believe she lives in Rochester, which is in southern Minnesota. Ironic that I bought this in northern Minnesota, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But I really, really liked it. It's called Knitting My Way, hand spun nut yarn. The type is VBFL/BFL.
So that's Blue-Faced Luster.
Right.
I don't know what the V means. Virgin Blue-Faced Luster? No.
I mean, because there's two. It's spun. It's too marled, so it's spun together. So
VBFL. I don't know what that means.
Anyone knows? Leave it in the show notes, comments. So the colorway is called Mahogany. I'm trying to take the band off and not ruin it. Mahogany Spice. And I just thought, this is so pretty. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I feel like it feels like a hat.
Yeah. How many yards is it?
Like 285.
160.
160.
Is that enough for a hat?
I
guess it depends on the...
Depends on the hat.
No kidding. I just meant, is that enough for a hat? Like, if it were 50 yards, it wouldn't be enough for a hat.
Right.
Unless it was, like, bulky or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's...
What is that, like a...
It's like a DK, maybe?
I don't know.
DK or a...
It's more like a worsted,
worsted. So, and I was also thinking that I could marl it with something and make it thicker. But
No, I wouldn't do that.
But I think it's really pretty.
Because it's already marled.
Or I could make a cowl.
I think a hat would work.
Yeah, I think a hat would work too. So, like, maybe just really quick vanilla hat. Because, I mean, this yarn doesn't need anything.
No.
It's so cool. So, yeah, it could be like a beanie.
Oh, yeah, it says hand-spun yarn.
It could be like a little beanie thing, or it could go down, like, longer, or it could do a pom-pom, depending on how much I have. So, yeah.
All right, there's more info.
Oh, good.
Shannon Knutson.
Oh. And her...
Well, I'll put that on the screen.
Yeah. Cool. It's a good Minnesotan name.
Shannon Knutson.
Yeah.
All right. So then we were in St. Oh my God. So then we were in St. Louis, and we went to.
Oh, what store did we go to in Duluth? Is there a seat
Duluth All Yarns Are Us?
Oh God, let me look it up. I'm sorry. We need to acknowledge the local yarn store we went to in Duluth. Hang on. Yarn Harbor?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the yarn was Yarn Harbor.
I mean, the yarn shop was called Yarn Harbor.
What did I say?
You said the yarn was Yarn Harbor.
Oh, no, the yarn shop. All right, so then the artistic director of our chorus, the Twin Cities Gay Men's Chorus, Gerald, he got married in St. Louis, actually outside of St. Louis, where his now husband is from. And so we went down there. We went down there for the wedding, and we stopped at
Yarnifest?
Notorious.
Notorious, yes.
That's what it was.
The problem with knitting yarn shops is they all are like some kind of pun.
Knitting pun.
They're like hair stores.
Okay, this one's mine.
Okay.
This one's yours.
All right.
So we found this awesome store called Notorious.
And it was cool because, pardon me, one of the things that, in addition to like buying local yarn and going to local yarn stores, what I like about going to them is they're often in neighborhoods you wouldn't normally go to.
Yeah.
So, we're in St. Louis, and, if you're visiting St. Louis, you kind of go to the Arch, you go to the downtown, see the old buildings like that. But this was in a completely different neighborhood, which is really, really cool. And so...
Yeah, I mean, what I was blown away by is, like, when you're in the neighborhood, you would look down either side. I mean, you could look down all the streets. Every house was built in red brick, which is not something I've seen before.
Right.
I mean, in our area, it's either like stucco, or what's that? It's siding. What's it made out of? It's like not plastic, but like a siding, manufactured siding, not wood. But anyway, it's either stucco or siding typically. And this was all red brick. I mean, it was an older part of St. Louis, obviously, but the houses were really cool because they were all this really vibrant red brick as far as the, it's all the way down the street. So
Notorious.
What
did I get? Oh, okay. This is fun.
Yeah, that... you have too much yarn when you open a bag that you bought weeks ago and you're like, oh yeah.
So, I got this set of minis.
Let me hold it so you can...
Yeah. Except I can't see.
Oh, right.
So, I got a set of minis, and it's from a, Diabolical? Yeah, Diabolical. It's a local knitter in St. Louis.
Local yarn dyer.
Local yarn dyer in St. Louis, yeah, probably. Diabolical mini skeins. They are 20 grams, 90 yards per mini.
So it's 5 minis, 20 grams each, which equals 100 grams.
Right.
Yeah.
Math is hard.
Well, no, you were kind of, you were sloughing over it. You were like, no.
I don't find that interesting. So.
Everybody well, not everybody, but a lot of people out there do. That's why we talk about it.
75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and I'm thinking it might be fun to do a pair of socks with this, and then maybe do the heels and toes using this, and then do a kind of gradation with the other two. I don't know. I saw these skeins, and I just liked how they looked all together. And I never bought mini skeins before.
What's the colorway?
Whip Beyond a Measure, which I also tickled my fancy. So yeah, I got that. And then why don't you...
Let me see. Those are really cool because there's like a light brown and a dark brown. Then there's kind of a gray, blue, brown mix. And then it's almost like a fade kit. It's like a kind of a darker brown and then a really dark navy. So it's like it goes from dark brown to dark navy with kind of variations in between. Yeah.
So very cool. Do you want to do your other one because we got the same? What did you get? Remember we got two of the same.
No.
Yeah, we did.
Well, mine's a different colorway though.
Right.
Just go ahead and show you.
Okay, and then we got this, which is Alpacas Davos. and this is Surrey Merino 3-ply. The colorway is Raven.
Oh, it's 85% Surrey alpaca.
Yeah.
15% merino wool.
So I just saw this, and another local dyer. I think they're from.
Don't they have the sheep or the alpacas or something?
Yes,
locally?
they do. It's a one-stop shop. So they do this person raises the alpacas and does the spinning and dyeing. So really, really cool. I just love the color, and yeah.
And I got this one.
Yeah.
It's the same yarn base, but I got this one, and it's my colorway is turquoise marl.
Yeah.
What was your colorway?
Raven. Yeah.
And Raven, and so it's turquoise. I don't know if you can see them there. It's like a turquoise and then a darker turquoise marl together. It's 500 yards, 7 ounces.
Oh, so it's 85% Surrey and 15% merino. Did you already say that?
Yeah.
So that's a good example of like a alpaca, but it's mixed, so it'd have a little bit of memory.
Yeah. I can't remember. I bought this because I loved the color, but I don't remember what I was going to do with it. I thought I had an idea of what I was going to do with it, and now I can't remember.
Socks.
No. I don't even know what. It's 3-ply, which I think I guess
probably
it's like fingering weight.
Or maybe sport. Feels a little bigger than, because it's 500 yards for 7 ounces.
I don't know how many grams that is.
It's
It's 20 to 24 stitches per 4
inch.
inches.
Using
Oh yeah, that's bigger than a finger.
Yeah, so it might be sport.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't even. But I don't. Oh gosh, I had an idea of what I was going to use it for. Now I can't remember.
Oh no.
Arg. Oh well.
Anyway, really cool. Did you get anything else from there?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So then I bought 2 skeins of.
Oh right.
This, which is notorious. It's branded by the name of the store, but it's a local person. It says rare undyed colors, sumptuous pure merino softness, 30 years of dedication.
Oh, it's local merino.
Yes.
Sheep.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay.
From our farm along the Missouri River. Many thanks for. Okay. So what the shop owner said is that merino sheep are typically white. The wool is typically white, but they have a rare brown or black or whatever. A few sheep that are a few of the merino sheep that are not brown.
They're not white.
That are not white. And so it's marled together. And I just, let me put it in front of my face, see if it'll focus. There we go. So anyway, I bought these. I bought 2 of them. They're each 50 grams, 270 yards. And I'm making a mittens out of them. And I'm going to show that when we get to our works in progress. So, fawn/brown marl is the
it's really pretty.
colorway. Yeah, and it's super. It's soft, but it's that people talk about it feeling rustic. It's not scratchy at all, but it feels there's like some whatever to it.
Right.
I can't think of the word. So I bought 2 skeins of that.
All right.
Oh, what was I going to use this for? It's driving me nuts. Oh well. Okay, so should we talk about in progress stuff?
Why don't you just go to your mitten?
Because that's not the order that I wrote it down in.
It'll flow nicely.
All right.
But you know, you do you.
I do me. So another sock that I've knit more than once. So this is my permanent sock kit. I'm going to have this bag for whatever socks. This is my Rusted Stitch bag that you and Stephanie conspired to get me this bag. So in my sock kit, I don't know if other people are going to find this interesting, but I have one of these, which I probably don't need this in here, but I need a gauge thing of some kind to make sure I'm not knitting with 2.25 millimeter needles. Then I've got my Knit Picks DPNs. which I think I have some of Betty Ann's needles in here, which I'm sure she's going to remind me of when she sees the episode. Then I've got a pair of scissors, of course, and then I've got a little bag. This little bag came with something that I bought from Jimmy Bean's Wool. I've got a longer needle, 2.5 millimeter to do magic loop stuff if I need to do that. Oh yeah, and then I've got this I can use for measuring my 2.5 millimeter gauge, and then I've got some needles and here's the Lake Superior from Yarn Harbor. Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna. Well, maybe
sort of. I think it's a bit focused.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the outline of Lake Superior. So I've got all those in here, and then I've got. So that's what I've got in my permanent yarn kit, or permanent sock kit. So this is my sock bag forever. It's a little big for a sock bag, but I don't care. It's got room for all my stuff. So anyway, the sock that I've got going right now is a pair of socks for myself, because I knit a pair for myself, then I knit a pair for John, now I'm back to myself. And I tried to do the Flegel heel. Now, I don't know if I did it wrong. I really like doing it. It was really fun. Happy Knits has a pattern that she sells, and then she also has YouTube instructional video. But it seemed baggy to me. It was baggy. The heel was baggy on my foot. And also, she did it as shorty socks. I don't know if that heel can be used for longer socks. I can't imagine it wouldn't be, because it's just, you're just adding a leg. That's what I do with the heel flap and gusset, is I use the Rose City Rollers pattern and then add a leg to it. So anyway, it didn't turn out, and I wasn't happy with it, and so I decided, but I really love this yarn, so I decided to frog it and start knitting from this sock. So now, what did I do?
That's a little messy.
Everybody look away, don't pay attention. Okay. Oh, that's right, I started doing this funky thing with this sock. So I've got my 2x2 ribbon, then I started doing 4 rows of stockinette, or 4 rows of knit stitch, and then 1 row of purl. So it's got weird purl bumps that go down our dog is dreaming in his sleep.
If you hear a little high-pitched whimpering, that's what's going on.
So I don't know if you can really see, maybe if I'll hold it like this, you can see the purl bumps on it, but just to do something different. And I just absolutely love this yarn. This is yarn my mom bought for me for my birthday from Artistic Yarns by ABI.com, or Abby, I don't know. Love it. So that's my current yarn in progress, sock in progress. All right. Now,
what's next on the agenda?
Well, whatever you want to do, John.
No, we have an agenda. I don't want to mess things up.
The one you're knitting right now.
All right. So, here's the deal. We have a really good friend of ours who we've known for a long time, and he is moving to San Diego. He's the current executive director of the chorus. And he is perhaps the biggest sci-fi fantasy nerd I know.
Like way beyond.
So, I mean, he's moving, and he was unloading, nerd stuff on us. And we were talking through stuff, and he has all these, DVDs and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, Jeff, what I really want is the late 90s re-release of the original Star Wars trilogy on VHS before they redid stuff to it. And he's like, I've got that. Do you want it? I'm like, so
I think about Dan from the Bakery Bears, because he's pretty huge of a nerd too, and I bet he would appreciate.
Why is that important? It's like the remastered before they did all the changes and stuff like that.
Well, it was before they made it so that
there's no extra Jabba scene.
Well, what's the one where they made it so that Han Solo didn't shoot first?
Yeah, no, Greedo shoots first.
Yeah.
So, and they'll probably, you know, now that Disney owns them, they'll probably remaster and re-release them. But right now, that's the only version you can get. So, anyway,
he also gave you a
shooting script,
Klingon knife.
Right, an original.
It was like a blade like this.
Ken and Barbie,
Star Trek. Original Star Trek. What was the shooting script of?
The original, the Dune movie from the 80s. So anyway, he and I share a love of all things sci-fi fantasy. And a big, you can't really see it, but there's a giant Fellowship of the Rings poster that he gave me. So anyway, he's heading out, and so I was like, you know what, I want to knit a pair of socks for him. And Scott had got me this colorway for my birthday, and it's called Shut Up, Wesley. So this is what
Star Trek: The Next Generation fans will get that.
So that's what it looks like caked up. So I'm trying desperately. We've been going away party for him on the 28th of July, and I'm trying to knit some socks for him. So,
You probably don't need to do any more leg than that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna knit until I get the.
Oh, because you're doing afterthought.
Yeah, afterthought heels and toes. So I've had this yarn for a little bit, and I'm like, you know, if there's someone who deserves to have socks knit in the colorway Shut Up Wesley, it's Jeff.
It's what the color of Wesley Crusher's uniform from the first season.
From the first season.
And there's this hilarious scene where everybody's telling, well, specifically Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard, tells Wesley, "Shut up, Wesley."
Shut up, Wesley. Which is amazing. Anyway, so we'll see if we can get these done in time. So we started out, I was going to do, because I knew there was a time crunch, to trying to do 2 at a time magic loop. And looked at a couple tutorials, and oh my god. Like casting on 2 at a time magic loop socks was just a nightmare.
It made my stomach hurt.
Yeah, I mean,
it made John cuss a lot.
We were driving in the car, so that didn't help either. But like I was doing it, and literally, I think it might be better. But like in terms of yarn management, like it was disastrous. Like things kept being tangled. I couldn't figure I was doing it right. It was just...
I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
It was a mess. So, we tried that.
It was a disaster.
So, you know, did that. So we're back to 9-inch circulars for these. Yeah, if anyone has any...
No, there's a million YouTube videos on how to do... I mean, it's like... Why would you put yourself through that?
Well,
I'm sure people do it and love it.
Well, it's just an advantage. I think what people said, the consensus is that it's a tough way to start a pair of socks.
Yeah.
I think that if you wanted to, like, if you'd gotten maybe, like, this much done and then put them on there, it might be a little easier because, although I don't see why, I think it'd still be a disaster nightmare from heck. So anyway, I'm knitting these furiously, trying to get them done by the end of the month. They may be presented to him on needles, depending on where we are.
Yeah, that's 6 days away.
That's not.
The 20th of July?
28th.
Oh, I thought you said the 20th.
So I figure I can maybe try to finish this one up this week? Today's the 14th. So yeah.
Go John!
It might happen. It probably won't. If I can get like one sock done, and then show him...
Then you can give him a sock, like Dobby.
Oh my god, it's like freedom from the chorus.
Freedom from the chorus.
That's actually good. So, okay, we'll try to get one sock done between now and the 28th and be like, the next one is on its way.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. We have a colorway that I did some gloves in a while ago. It's called the Dark Side. And I might do the afterthought heels and toes in that.
God, that would be quite the crazy color combination.
Right, but it'd be Star Trek and Star Wars.
That's true.
In one sock.
That's
so,
true.
I think that'd be fun. But we'll see. I might just... This is... Those colors, I did I'll look and see what I've got the pair of gloves that I did knit up in that, and I'll look what they look like together. It might be too much. So yeah, after, you know, talking about how much I dislike knitting socks, I'm right onto a second pair of socks, so. But it's for a friend.
You've made a lot of progress.
Yeah, because I cast these on...
Not that long ago.
I cast them on last weekend.
Yeah.
So.
And you've been knitting, you finished that other sweater vest, you've been working on the dog sweater.
Right, so I'm awesome.
Yes.
So yeah, this is kind of what I'm working on for the socks.
And his shoe size is a little bit bigger than mine, I think.
Yeah, it's 9.5, I think.
Yeah, so his will probably be
so
close to mine.
Won't be like knitting a sock for me, which takes an extra year and a half.
Good Lord.
All right.
Okay.
Yay.
So my next thing. Were you gonna say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. So it's using...
I was gonna put this up, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm still knitting on it during the podcast.
So this is the Notorious, that yarn, that marled, like, dark color and light color merino marled together. But I decided, you know, I love knitting socks a lot, but I think I would love knitting mittens just as much.
Mm-hmm. And you know what?
What?
Hands are smaller than feet.
It's true, but they're wider. So, and they have a thumb. So I decided I was going to take an extra. So my first foray into mitten knitting.
Oh, that's right. Those really tight, the Christmas ornament gloves, which we should stuff. And
You're
actually,
not helping me keep on my train of thought.
That's my job.
We're going to stuff it, and yes. So I decided that. So my first foray into mitten knitting was, I forget the name of the pattern, but it's these beautiful mittens that have a tree on them.
You know what that was for? Our first cow.
Oh, that's right. Put it on your hand.
Yeah.
And so it was this beautiful cream yarn with green, and it was a kit that I had bought.
Mm-hmm.
And
at our first yarn hop.
And I had not measured my hand, first of all. I had not measured for gauge. I didn't know that color work makes things not stretchy. Like, it was all the things that you can do wrong. So I finished the mitten, and then I couldn't get it on my hand. And I was like, oh no, And so I decided to, and then I was like, never knitting handwear again. But it's not true, but, you know, I just kind of stopped thinking about handwear. So then I was like, I'm going to take a basic pattern. I decided that I was going to take a basic pattern and learn the construction of a mitten. Then we can get it into mitts, and then we can get into gloves, and we can get into all that stuff. But like with socks, I started with a basic one and have branched out from there. So Terry Leanne Morris, Sailing Knitter, did a mitten cowl back in 2014. And did a mitten knit along, a fingering weight mitten. And it's 6 pages, and it's very detailed about how you make a mitten. And I really, really like the pattern. It's more detailed than I will need in the future, but it really explains how you do the construction. So I am following that pattern, and I am knitting this mitten. So it starts with some 2x2 rib, and then you increase to add some stitches for the bottom of the hand. Then you do a gusset for the thumb, and then you don't cast off, but you put the stitches for the thumb on waste yarn. Then you knit the hand, and then down to the decrease down to the end of the hand, and then you go back and do the thumb. And so I did a gauge swatch. I'm using my 9-inch circulars to do it, and I will need to move to Magic Loop or DPNs. I think the pattern, she wrote the pattern for DPNs.
When I did my thing, doing the thumb with Magic Loop was really a lot easier.
Okay.
Because it's so small.
Yeah. So, and I'll probably do that, because I did the stuffed animals that I've done, I did Magic Loop, and that worked. So I'm doing a men's medium, and there's obviously a lot more stretch because it's not color work. And I've taken it all and put it on stitch holder a couple times, and because I'm like, oh my gosh, it looks small, but it's gonna fit. And yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. I think it's gonna be a fun thing to do when I don't want to do a pair of socks. And I can continue to buy fingering yarn.
Yeah.
Use fingering yarn for it. Which is, I love to buy sock yarn or fingering yarn. And the other thing is that this is not, they sell sock yarn that has the nylon in it for the heels and toes and all that, and so I try to stick to that for when I'm knitting socks. But this I could knit, what am I trying to say? I could buy yarn that doesn't have nylon in it, and I would feel comfortable, I think, knitting mittens out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll eventually probably get into gloves or whatever. One thing I want to mention about this is I don't particularly like make one increases. So what I mean by that is the kind of increases where you pick up the yarn in between the stitches and put it back on your needle and then knit it. It feels futzy and counterintuitive to me somehow. And then I know that there's an importance in you do a make one left versus a make one right, as far as the lean of the stitch that you create. However, having said that, Happy Knits in her Fleagle Heel pattern talks about doing an increase of a twisted yarn over. And so instead of doing just a regular yarn over, which is going to create a hole, you do the yarn over, and then when you come back around to the next row, you knit through the back loop. It twists the yarn over and it closes the hole. That's what I did on this, and you can't see the increases hardly. It's so smooth, there's no holes. And I actually enjoy doing that increase of the yarn over and then knitting through the back loop when I come around. There's just something satisfying about doing that increase.
How does it lean though?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I can't see that. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, I did one on the right and I did the same thing on the right and on the left, and it doesn't look. What?
We literally had a Betty Ann update.
Did she? Oh, she's texting us. What now? What did she say?
She wants help on the border for the shawl.
What shawl?
Isn't she doing the advent calendar shawl?
Oh. She needs help. She's finishing the 2017 advent calendar shawl.
Yeah.
Which I actually have sitting right here. That's so funny.
BA update.
I was going to use this to show the cuffs from the rusted stitch, but anyway, okay. That's random. All right, so anyway, I'm blathering on about these. I mean, I think that it might matter on some things, but on this I don't think it matters. It looks like they lean, on both sides it's leaning. I can't tell.
Yeah.
Anyway, love that increase. Even though this pattern didn't call for it, it called for a make one.
Mm-hmm.
Make one stitch by inserting the tip of your left needle into the strand in the row below and before the next stitch and knitting into the back to twist. I did the yarn over and I loved it. So yeah, so I'm doing these, and they're going to be for me because they're something I haven't done before, and then I'll branch out and
they're very pretty.
This yarn is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm using it. I'm using this on 2.5 millimeter needles. And this, I started with these DPNs, these Knitter's Pride Dreams. These are not yours, Betty Ann. These are mine. I bought them. Although I do owe her a set. Forgot what I was saying about this. Oh, and then in this bag that Cody knits, Nurse Cody, he didn't make this, but he gifted it to us last time we saw him. So I love this bag. It's got the beards and the sunglasses and all that on it. All right. And I don't know who made that bag, unfortunately. I don't see a tag on it. So. All right, so what do we have next? John, Cardigan.
All right. Oh, before I forget, I forgot to tell you, I told you the colorway, but not. So this yarn is Wild Hair Fiber Studios. it was made specially for Stephen B., which is our local yarn store, and it is... doesn't say what it is.
Well, this...
It's just sock yarn.
Yeah, this skein was a sample that that the dyer gave to the store to see if they wanted to sell it.
Okay.
And if they liked it. And they decided to do it. They launched it. They sold out. I went in to buy it for John as a gift, and they're like, well, we don't have it. But they were so nice, they gave me the test skein.
Right.
And so, or they sold me the test skein. And so that label doesn't have all the stuff on it because it's the...
Yeah. All right, Cardigan. Good Lord. Which bag is that? Okay, here we go. So this is a plan I'm working for a while. It's a colorwork cardigan by Martin Story. It's in Rowan or something like that. Their thing. Rowan, sorry. So
Rowan.
So here's what it is. It's a... I'm still working on the back, but it is just gorgeous.
That pattern is so cool.
Yeah. It's it's one of those things that's so hard. Not hard, it's so intense. I tend to try to do when I sit down I can really only do 2 or 3 rows, but it's coming.
It's very, you have to think about it.
You have to think about it. There's no automatic knitting. So anyway, it is Martin Story's Thorn from Rowan Knits magazine, blah blah blah. This is the
blah blah blah
blah blah. This is the back, so working on that. And the yarn I'm using is Cascade yarns.
It's the Cascade 220.
Cascade 220. So.
And that's 100% merino?
Yes. Yes.
It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool.
Oh, 100% Peruvian Highland wool. So whatever that means.
It means it's wool from the Peruvian Highlands.
Well, I know, but I mean...
I was kidding. See, you peppered me with fun little peanut gallery comments.
When I do it, it's funny. So yeah, this is a work in progress. I mean, I put it down for a while because I was doing other stuff, but I've just sort of picked it back up. And yeah, I'm excited about this. This is maybe my summer 2020 finished object. But yeah, it's knit flat, and I'm doing Portuguese knitting.
Well, you can just tell with this yarn. Look how I don't know what the right word is, professional or
how even everything looks.
Even compared to when you were working with that splitty baby alpaca.
Yeah.
It's just so...
Yeah, and you can just tell when you block it, it's going to be amazing.
When it blooms and everything, it's going to be awesome.
So, yeah, and especially what I've discovered, and I'll talk about this in another project, I think for any sort of color work, if your yarns aren't copacetic with one another, it don't look good. So it's just nice to have it. It's all from the same type of yarn, and it just fits really well together. So more to come on that one. It's going to be amazing when it gets done.
And if I remember correctly, one panel on the front is different than the other panel on the front. It's the same yarns, but but
this is a slightly different pattern. So yeah, the front panel on one side and the arm on one side is different. So that'll be...
But it's subtle enough that it looks cohesive, but...
Yeah.
Because we were looking at it in the book and we're like, oh, that's actually different.
Yeah. So yeah, progress on that one. Again, it's just sit down, do a row or two, and then take a break. Yeah.
All right. So then you've got a scarf.
So I'll do
two scarves.
2 scarves to talk about. I'll do the scarf fail first. So I think I've talked about this before. I started this scarf. It's called the One Ring Scarf, and it is a double knit pattern. And it would eventually have ended up being the Lord of the Rings pattern around the ring of Mordor. the One Ring. So an Elvish script.
Yeah, Elvish, yeah.
So I got this far in it, so you can sort of see the pattern emerging, and there's something about, so these two yarns, which are beautiful, I mean, they're gorgeous, but they're just not, as far as the color work, making friends with one another in the right way. I think it's because...
that's what you were talking about with if the yarns don't work well together.
Yeah. And so, like, I think they're just slightly... They're both fingering weights, but, like, one's a little thinner than the other. And so...
They're different materials.
Different materials.
Different,
and so,
content.
if you look at it, it just... It looks...
Can you tilt it back so the light can shine? Yeah, there you go.
So you can sort of see the silver through the green.
You can on the other side.
And you can see the green through the silver. And it's just... It wasn't...
It's not as beautiful as it can be.
Right.
If you're going to put all that work into it.
Right. It wasn't working. I did do a tubular cast-on for it, or I did some cool... The cast-on's really cool.
I think that is a tubular cast-on.
Yeah, I did a tubular cast-on. That was really fun, and really quite good. The tubular...
It's the one where it wraps around.
Yeah.
It looks like it's a continuous... Yeah.
So, and that was actually really fun. Yeah, no. See, it was just not... It just...
You know what is so crazy? I'm sorry, I'm just noticing this. That is a very distinct green.
Mm-hmm. When
you look at it in the skein, it looks black.
Yeah.
But that is very much green.
Yeah.
Who is it again? Is this Copper Corgi?
No, this is
Dragonfly Fibers.
Dragonfly Fibers. The colorway is called
Norbert.
So, like, I bought two
skeins. Oh my gosh, that is
so
crazy.
beautiful. And so this is...
Well, and this is very tightly wound yarn.
Right. And this is like and this one, which we got, is Bare Naked Wool's Chrome, and it's like a plied yarn, and it's not so tightly wound. But,
well, and this looks like it's a single ply.
Yeah.
And that's not a single ply.
Yeah.
I think that might be more important than anything else.
Right.
Is that this is single ply and the silver is not.
Well, it's funny because they're both technically fingering weight.
Yeah, but
and so I mean, just look at this. The colors together are just
how green this is.
Are so, and so this is the first. I bought this color first, and I kept waiting for a sort of good color to match with it, and I just fell in love with this color, and you know, they aren't hanging out well together, which makes me sad. So I'm gonna actually frog this, which makes me really sad, and I think I will figure out either another...
We will find something.
We'll find something with it. I want to do this scarf, though, because it's cool, and I like double knitting, although...
Well, so one thing I was thinking of is... Dragonfly Fibers is the company or whatever, dyer or whatever you want to call it, that made that mitten with the tree on it.
Yeah.
And so I could use that with another Dragonfly Fibers yarn and try those tree mittens again.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Because that's a beautiful... I'm just struck by that green.
Yeah,
because in the skein I was kind of like, meh, you know, it's got some variegations in it or whatever, but you can't really see it till it's knit.
And it just knits beautifully. They both knit really beautifully, just not well together. And the colors I love. And I think this chrome, I can't imagine, it's so bright and so metallic-y. I don't think you'd ever want it by itself. I just think it's too good for a contrast color or a main color that you wouldn't want to do that. But these don't work well together, so I'm going to frog it, be very sad, and move on.
That chrome might be cool for the stalactite scarf.
Oh yeah, that could work. Yeah, I've got enough of it. So, yeah, because this has a really good definition. This not so much. If that makes sense.
Okay. I think they both do. I think that's the problem.
Right, maybe.
Is they're not fluffy.
Yeah. They're really, again, it breaks my heart because I was really excited to have those work together, and it just... Mommy and Daddy love each other very much. They're going to be apart for a little bit. So that's that. And then the other thing I'm working on, And this is just an example of how when you do color. So I decided I wanted to learn brioche. And I had this yarn that I bought from
Knitted
Wit that's called Enchanted Forest. And I've been looking for a project to do with it for a long time because I love it. Here's what it looks like, kind of caked up. It's just so cool. And I was like, you know what would be really cool is to do something brioche with it, a 2-color brioche with it. And so I actually ordered from Knitted Wit another color, which is called Guy Noir. Same weight and all that good stuff. And I was like, I'm going to do a 2-color brioche scarf, so this is what I'm doing.
Good Lord, I can't believe how much progress you've made on that.
Yeah. So that
is so amazing.
Yeah. I really, really like it.
Let's hold it up a little closer.
Yeah. So I love how it looks. If you turn it over, the back side, the other side doesn't quite pop as much.
But that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's black, and then when you pull it apart, you can see the multicolor.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen 2-color brioche where you take 2 colors, there's like, and they both sort of pop out. And I just like the black as a background color. It looks like, to me, it looks a little bit like stained glass.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and brioche knitting, 2-color brioche knitting, not as hard as I thought it would be. Definitely confusing for the first bit because you have to.
See, I've never double knit or done brioche.
Yeah. I want to do circular brioche 2-color knit is actually easier because you don't have to.
You don't have to purl back.
You have to purl. Well, you don't have to. So the way you do it is you knit 1 row and then move it to the other side. Then you move it back, knit the next row, and then flip it and.
Purl and then purl, or do you knit?
Yeah, so you knit, so you start and you knit this first row, and then you move it over, and then you purl the next row with the contrasting color, and then you flip it, and then you purl with the dark, and then knit with the contrast. So it's until you get the hang of it. I mean, obviously I've done a bit, so I have the pattern memorized, but and I forget, the pattern is just, what is it? And the pattern is 2-color brioche scarf by Edith Murphy, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. So, and then I, listen to some tutorials and stuff like that, but not that hard. It definitely does take time because you do yarn overs and knit togethers and stuff like that, so you have to sort of pay attention to what you're doing a little bit, but I was kind of like, brioche, let's see what that's like, and that's awesome. Really like it, and this will be ready for the winter. Because I may do more, but my goal was to maybe just do 1 skein and see how long it gets, and then stop.
Awesome. All right, so should we talk about our knit along that never happened?
Well, it's just been pushed back a little bit.
All right, so we're re-kicking it back off.
It's a reboot of something that never started.
And then we're also I'm going to actually set up the Ravelry groups, and we're going to follow the hashtag and all that kind of stuff.
Sorry, people, we're terrible. We were so good for a little bit.
Well, we just got super busy.
Yeah.
So nobody cares.
Yeah. Hopefully they're just glad we're back.
What's the I don't remember the name of what the hashtag was.
Naked Pets Cow.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Was it STNS Naked Pets Cow? I'll put it on the screen.
Yeah.
But
we had a hashtag. It's about naked pets.
Oh my God. So the rules are as follows. There are no rules. No, I'm just kidding. It goes until the end of August.
Mm-hmm.
It can be our preference, although it doesn't mean anything. Our preference is that it's a clothing item for your pet.
Because pets shouldn't be naked.
That's
naked. Obscene.
However, you can do anything.
You can do a stuffed animal.
You can do stuffed animal. You can do, the name of the yarn can be animal related. It can be an animal named pattern.
Or it can be a pattern with an animal.
Right. It can be anything.
Animal, it can be an insect too. Or...
No, it's just animals.
Just animals? Actually, insects are animals.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
But it can't be like trees or fungus. Apparently, animal, plant,
kingdom, phylum.
It has to be in the animal kingdom. How about that?
It has to be in the animal kingdom. Okay.
So you can do. I guess we do. I mean, if you did a really cool protozoa one,
John,
that might count. Even though it's a little different.
You're driving me crazy. We're never going to get through this. So we've got 3 prizes. We've got 2 beautiful cuffs, scarf cuffs. I don't know if that's what they're officially called. From the Rusted Stitch. Amazing Stephanie, who made this the bags and all that kind of stuff in Iowa. So she's provided 2 cuffs, and I've got one here. I don't wear I don't wear shawls, and of course, so
that's probably not how you wear it.
No, it's not. But I'm just trying to show it. So, and I don't want to take the tag and everything off because it's nice. But she's got this one here, and I'm going to hold them up a little closer.
Yeah.
This one here, which is kind of I've got the wrong side of it. It's got a really nice leather grain to it with a nice metal button or tab, whatever that's called. And then this one, which has a little bit of a pattern to it, the one that I've got around the shawl. So we've got those 2. And she sells these in her shop. I haven't checked lately. I know that she's posted them on Instagram a lot, and she's got them. You know, she's done a bunch with these shawl cuffs, and it's very cool. So we've got those as prizes.
Right.
And we're gonna do. Or sorry, go ahead.
Oh, why don't you? Oh, I can. So the other prize we have is this woman reached out to her Instagram name is Bags by Awesome Grannie.
That's cool.
She is an Etsy shop. I'm just gonna go to her.
I'll put it on the screen.
Etsy shop.
Yeah.
So, oops. Okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And she has she does bags, and her bags are super cute, and a lot of them have animals on them.
Oh, that's fun.
So she is offering a bag of the winner's choice. So yeah, I mean,
so she'll give us a code to use for a free bag.
Yeah, she'll when the winner, we'll just have them get in touch with her and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's really exciting because who doesn't love a good project bag? The other thing she's doing, let's see, is she also wanted to, and again, I feel bad because she reached out to me in May.
Well, we were gonna do the knit along then.
Yeah,
so.
I know. And
we're not professionals.
We are not. If you hadn't guessed.
Yeah.
And so she also wanted to do a coupon code for any one of our listeners. It's 50% off, and it is Sweet15.
Oh, that's nice.
And she says, I'll leave the code active as long as people are using it.
Oh, wow.
So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
cool.
I think that's great. She has really cute bags. She has one like cat unicorn ice cream stuff. I mean, they're adorable.
How have I not seen this?
Yeah. So anyway, it's just really fun. She reached out to us on Instagram or meet on Instagram, and so yeah, that was really cool.
So
what else did we talk about? Oh, how long it's gonna be?
Well, I talked about that. So people might have posted stuff on Instagram. I haven't looked. I never set up the groups. But the other thing is you can enter anything that was at least less than 50% done, I think. And I think we talked about this originally like in May. So as long as it was less than 50% done way back then,
yeah,
you can enter it in. We're not picky about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember the hashtag was, but
it'll be a random number generator for those 3 prizes, and then I'll get the group set up and all of that. There was one more thing I was going to mention, but for the knit-alongs, one of the big reasons we do the knit-alongs is to motivate ourselves to do something within that category. Yeah. And so, do you want to share yours?
I do.
Well, actually, yours is kind of more fun. So let me talk about mine because it's not started yet.
Yes.
So I don't have the pattern in front of me. I'm doing a dog sweater for Mr. Harris, and sorry, he's like sprawled out over there in the. So I'm using some good old-fashioned Red Heart. because we've got a bin full of acrylic that needs to be used. So I'm making it out of this gray, which will look good. He's kind of a espresso brownish black color, so this will be fun. And so I did a swatch pattern, and it didn't fit. So I have to go down to a 6, or sorry, the swatch, I didn't meet gauge. And so to meet gauge, I need to go down to a 6. And I didn't have the cord that I needed because we are using, so we've got the Chow Goo interchangeable set, and I didn't have enough cables, so I bought...
I think there are probably Chow Goo cables like all throughout our house. I feel like
I don't know where they all are.
I mean, part of them are on projects, but I think a lot of them are just sort of hiding.
So I bought... I'm sorry, I just was looking at the back of this and it says, occasionally wipe down cables with rubbing alcohol for best performance.
So they don't get like stuff on them to clean them off? Like oils from your hand and stuff like that? I don't know.
I never noticed that before. I don't know why. Anyway, so I bought some extra cable and a join from Jimmy Bean's Wool. Just thought I'd mention that because Chow Goo is by far... it's fun to have the needle set and then just to like go on and buy extra tips or extra cords or whatever to build on that. So that's what I'm doing. I haven't cast it on yet.
What's your pattern?
I don't know. I don't know where the pattern is right
It was
now.
somewhere...
Okay, hang on, let me see if I can find it. So the irony is that the dog ate my homework. This is what the pattern looks like right now. I'm going to have to reprint it back out. Because some dog who can't be bothered tried to eat the pattern. But it's a free pattern from Red Heart. And it's the cabled dog sweater.
Right.
And I'm a little nervous because it's going to have it's not going to have like, some of the dog sweaters have like a little sleeve. Mm-hmm. This one just has leg holes. Trying to get his feet in and out of the sweater is going to be interesting. But this is the one I want to do. It's got a little collar on it. It's got cables, and so
it'll be adorable.
Yes. I gotta cast that on if I'm gonna get it done by the end of August.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so what I'm doing...
this is so beautiful.
So I'm doing a...
This is just Red Heart, isn't it?
No, it is...
It's acrylic.
It is...
Oh no, it's Woolies.
Woolies.
Who is the... I'm sorry, I'm excited because it's so cool. Who makes the yarn though? That's Lion Brand.
Lion Brand, yeah.
That's right.
So this is another free pattern from Lion Brand. It is called Hank's Urban Dog Sweater. And
Hank's Urban Dog Sweater.
And it's being made with Scarfy.
Scarfy, not Woolies.
From Lion Brand. So it's kind
Scarfy, and it's 312 yards, 5.3 ounces, or 150 grams. Oh, and it's 78% acrylic and 22% wool, which is kind of cool.
And so it kind of does this two-color thing.
Ochre Navy.
Ochre and Navy.
Is the name
and
of
so this is exciting because I've actually finished. It's 3 parts sewn together, and I finished the back.
So that's what lays across his back?
Yeah. So...
This is so cool. It's got a little rib at the top.
It's got a little rib at the top. And then it sort of goes... It's going to be a little...
You don't even know how awesome
it's going to be a little long on him, I think. But that's okay.
It'll hide his little nub and tail.
Yeah. We'll go around... So anyway...
Are you excited for your sweater?
Super excited about it. So this will easily be done pretty quick.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So here's the deal. I'm like, I want to knit a sweater out of this for myself.
I know. I know. I'm thinking about... Because I'm going to knit... Anyway...
So anyway, it's going to be... So I did knit large because he's a big boy. And all I can say is that going back and forth from this, which is bulky acrylic, to baby alpaca, I freaking...
Multiple personality disorder?
Well, it's just... This is... Alright. Bulky acrylic is super easy to knit with.
Well, I didn't realize it's 22% wool.
Yeah. So this...
I'm sorry, bulky acrylic is what, did you say?
It's so easy to knit with.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, it doesn't split. It's just like you don't have to pay attention to it almost. So yeah, I'm just, and I feel like this is a pretty big piece, and this took maybe like 2.5 weeks to do.
Well, and again, you don't stick to one thing, so you were doing a bunch of other projects with that.
Right. So I feel like this is gonna be really fast, and it makes me, you know what,
I have a tendency to like. I'm pretty monogamous with my knitting.
Yeah, I'm not. I have different things for different moods. Like this was my TV stuff for a while. Then I have the sock is my bust knitting, and then I have the other stuff that I just do forever. But yeah, I mean,
God, so cool,
so pretty.
I love this.
And so
I might have to buy some Scarfy to make a my.
I got 3 skeins of it because I wasn't sure how much to get. So I think I'm going to use the extra skein to do a hat or something like that because it's got a little bit of a sparkle in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I don't think that.
It's
a little bit. It's probably the plastic.
Probably, but it's very cool. Anyway, I just like the colors. So yeah. So I've got a back for a dog. So
we'd love for people to. So what we've done before in the past, and I think what it would be fun to do is kind of have like an episode that's dedicated to the end of the cowl.
Yeah.
Where we go through and we show different people's stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I really like that.
Well, especially because it might also have people's pets.
That would be amazing.
So yeah, this will be the front piece it basically has a front piece that goes kind of like this far down. You do it and it connects here, and then it has straps, so it should fit him pretty well. And it looks.
He's not appropriately excited about his new sweater.
He's not. To be fair, it is somewhere else.
Hi, Horace. Do you want to be on the podcast? Oh, do you like the word podcast? Are you excited about your sweater? Not so much. Did you eat my pattern? You can go back to sleep now. Bye.
So,
true.
And the who. I'm trying to figure out, so if I can, I don't know how I want to do this, but it would be really cool if I can get the underpiece to line up stripe-wise. But I don't know how I'd do that.
Yeah. I don't either.
Like, I know you could probably... It probably involves a lot of unwinding and looking at stuff.
Yeah.
Unless the...
Because it's not going to matter.
Because the problem is that even if they're, like, completely identical, the bottom... This is where that thing started, so you'd have to figure out where... Yeah. Anyhow.
So I think we're done. Right? That's all I had written down.
Wow.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody.
BA update. She's working on her shawl.
Oh, yeah. BA update. We'll have a better BA update next time.
Yeah. Yeah, that is it.